Right, members, you are hereby summoned to attend the bi-monthly meeting of the Assurance, Audit and Risk Committee, which will be held a hybrid meeting and remotely via WebEx and physically in the chamber in the Guildhall on Monday, 17th of November at 4 p.m. And we will hand to Denise for the members' attendance. Apologies.
Thank you, Chair. Alderman Darren Guy. Alderman Keith Kerrigan.
Yep.
Councillor Raymond Barr. Councillor Amanda Clark.
And Shaw.
Councillor Caitlin Deaney. Councillor Gary Donnelly.
And Shaw.
Councillor Paul Gallagher.
And Shaw.
And Councillor Christopher Jackson. Councillor Fergal Leonard. Councillor Patricia Logue.
And Shaw.
Councillor Patrick Murphy.
And Shaw.
Councillor Declan Norris. Councillor Martin Riley.
Here.
Councillor Brian Tierney. Thank you, members.
Thank you very much. Members, item 3 is the broadcasting statement. I'd like to remind everyone physically present at this meeting or in attendance remotely that this meeting will be broadcast live to the internet and will be capable of repeated viewing. This broadcast may be terminated or suspended in accordance with our protocol. Due to your attendance at this meeting, you are consenting to being filmed and to the use and storage of those images for broadcasting or training purposes, and for the purpose of keeping historical records and making those records available to the public. Members and approved speakers are reminded to only have their mics and cameras on while speaking at the meeting and to use the chat facility to highlight a request to speak. A copy of the Council Privacy Notice may be found on the Council website www.directtheland.com. Members, moving on to item 4, which is declaration of interest. Does anyone have a declaration which to bring forward at this stage, or it can be brought forward as an item arises? Don't see anything. There was one, item 13, Denise, as we had discussed the North West Regional Waste Management Group. I'll make a declaration as a member of that group. In that case, members, will move on to item 5, which is the chairperson's business. I don't have any chairperson's business. No one's raised anything, and the officers don't have anything. So we will move then on to item 6, members, which is the matters arising from the open minutes of the Assurance, Audit and Risk Committee held on Monday, the 22nd of September, pages 3 to 12. Does anyone have any matters arising? No matters arising, members. Oh, sorry, Councillor Riley.
Just to propose for accuracy and Chair, that's all.
Thank you, Councillor Riley. Members, in that regard, we're content with the minutes and there's no matters arising. We'll move on to item 7, which is the risk review process and update on Council Services Risk Register. And that's Denise.
Thank you, Chair. Members, the purpose of this report is to update you and to seek your endorsement on the ongoing risk review processes in accordance with our risk management strategy, and to provide an update on the risk register reviews which have been completed from the 1st of May to the 30th of September. Members, you will see from the report that a significant number of service areas have reviewed their risk registers since May 2025. A random sample of 3 registers have been included in the report pack today for your review, namely refuse collections, streetscape, grounds maintenance and cemeteries, and the civic offices facility management. Upon review of the registers attached, members, you will note that all the risks identified have controls in place, and where there are high scoring risks, further actions are in place to ensure that all efforts are being taken to mitigate against the risk occurring. Members will note from their papers that Appendix 4 shows the action plans in place to manage the high scoring risks. A critical risk variance report is also included to show the risk score movements of the high scoring risks in the last 6 months. There are no financial implications associated with this review process, and all risk implications are included within the registers. And the recommendation today, member, is to seek your endorsement and your review and comment on the risk register process. Thank you.
All right, members, have we any comments that wish to be raised in regards to this item 7?
No, just to say thank you for the report, and to say that it's good that there is a robust risk action plan in place. And I just took note of the risk variances, and there is one, and there's 2 tables, I think, is there? There's one. Anyhow, it's good to see that under a number of headings that the risk has gone down considerably. So just to welcome that. Thank you.
Any other further comments? I think we are looking, although the recommendation in 5.1 does say for members' review and comment, it is open for decision. Are you looking for a proposer and seconder for the item? So if there's no other comments, members, I do see apologies online here from Councillor Jackson as well. Apologies, I only noticed that. Although the recommendation is just for members' review and comment, if we did have a proposer and seconder for the item, that would be Councillor Clark, you're content to propose, and Councillor Logue is content to second, and I don't see any dissent. So members will deem that as accepted then in regards to item 7, and we'll move on then to item 8, which is the Corporate Risk Register November 25, and that's Denise.
Thank you, Chair. Members, keeping on the same vein in the risk management, the purpose of this report is to present you your corporate risk register and to detail the latest reviews, and again to seek your endorsement and comments in relation to this. Appendix 7 within your report, members, shows the Council's most recent corporate risk register and highlights the high score and strategic risks that we face as an organisation. For all of the risks included in the risk register, in line with our risk management strategy, the corporate risk register summarises the key sources of assurance and controls which are in place to manage the risks, and again provides details of action plans which are in place to manage the high score and strategic risks. Again, a critical variance report is also included for members showing the changes in the strategic risk scores in the last 12 months. Again, members, just seeking your comments and endorsement on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Logue.
Again, just to welcome the report and to note the risk action plan, as well as to acknowledge the risk variances which have gone down, I think, on 2 out of the 7 headings. Thank you.
Any other comments, members, or if not, can we get a proposer and seconder for the item?
I'll propose.
Thank you, Councillor Logue. Councillor Riley, thank you very much for seconding the item. We're content then, members. I don't see anyone else wishing to comment on item 8. So in that regard, we'll deem that approved, and we'll move on to item 9, which is the Health, Safety and Wellbeing Committee, November 25, and that's pages 79 to 144. And that's Ben. Go ahead.
Thanks, Chair. The purpose of this report is to provide members with an update on health and safety management systems and processes in place with Council following the Corporate Health and Safety and Wellbeing Committee meeting held on the 13th of October, and to seek members' continued support and endorsement for the health and safety management systems in place within Derry City and Strabane District Council. The Corporate Health and Safety and Wellbeing Committee meet on a quarterly basis and is chaired by the Chief Executive and attended by directors, lead officers and union representatives. The committee forms an important part of the ISO 45001 system review and provides corporate health and safety with the opportunity to update senior management within Derry City and Strabane District Council on progress of health and safety performance throughout the organisation. The Corporate Health and Safety and Wellbeing Committee report presented and discussed at the Corporate Health and Safety Wellbeing Committee is attached to Appendix 10. The covenant reports for 25-26 were discussed and progress reported on from each directorate, which can be found in Appendix 11-14. Compliance training is also a key corporate risk. The training continues to be a key objective and will be tracked through individual service areas and covenant reports for the 25-26 reporting period. Also, members, the organisation's most recent ISO 45001 external surveillance audit report was completed on the 6th and 7th of October. In summary, the outcome of the external surveillance audit was extremely positive. As a result of the audit, there were 2 minor non-conformances and 2 opportunities for improvement, which were highlighted within the report. Full details of the findings will be presented to this committee in due course when the formal report is received from Amtivo. The internal audit process continues across Council on a monthly basis. The internal audit summary is attached to this report at Appendix 15. The committee also discussed the review of accidents and incident data for the 25-26 period. And the committee discussed projects during the that require a corporate intention and review to ensure the organisation remains compliant with key statutory regulations such as hand-arm vibration assessments, the Health and Safety Hub and Legionella management, which is ongoing. Members are asked to note the contents of this report and to continue to endorse the health and safety management systems and processes in place throughout the organisation. Happy to take any questions.
Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Keith. Do you know what? I'm just looking for some clarity. It's the table 1.6.1. Now maybe I'm reading it wrong, I don't know, but have the incidences crept up a wee bit? And then on over, where it says staff incidents comparison. So from 24 to 25, there was 19, but then from 25 to 26, it seems to have leaped up to 24. So that would be my concern, just that the rise in incidents.
Thank you for your question, Councillor. Yeah, so that incident, the incident report there, 1.6.1, is for the period between April and August. So at that point in time for the period, it's up a slight amount for that, but not in the overall for the year. So what we would do is discuss that on a quarterly basis at the management review, the Health and Safety Wellbeing Committee meeting, and overall at the end of the year, we would have a total tally. So yeah, I would note that the total staff incidents for there is up slightly for that given period, but not overall.
Councillor Logue.
Again, thank you for the report. And as you've already mentioned, in 3.4 of the report, it's great to see that the internal audit come back as extremely positive, especially in the ISO 45001. So I think that's just one question, but it relates to Appendix 15 and the actions, and they're to do with the Ryan McBride Brandywell Stadium. I just note that it is saying that it's hard to keep up with the contractor. Just wondering, I think that was September, so has there been any movement at all on that?
Yeah, so currently the progress note states that officers are currently liaising with external contractors on that. So as part of the internal audit, Brandywell Stadium was audited, as you can see, with that, but currently not handed over to council. So council's currently liaising with, or council officers are currently liaising with external contractors to push that on forward, but it's the responsibility currently sitting with external contractors to update officers of progress on that. And that's the reason why the audit progress requires more information, is that contractors would give it to them, you know.
Thank you. Look, and just because it's a health and safety risk, I would encourage if that from this committee that we try and do everything we can to get those resolved. Okay, thank you.
Not just to be clear, we're referring, I think, to the North Stand. Yeah, the North Stand has not been taken back in possession by council. So the North Stand is the responsibility of Derry City Football Club at this time until those issues are resolved.
Okay, John.
Members, have we any other comments? I do note in the recommendations we are asked to note the contents of this report and to continue to endorse the health and safety management systems and processes which are in place throughout the organisation. So I am minded that that requires a proposer and seconder just to continue to endorse. Councillor Logue is content to propose and Councillor Riley is content to second. I don't see any other comments or dissent, members, in which case I would deem that item 9 has been approved, and we'll move then on to item 10, which is the gap analysis, the effective audit and risk assurance committees, and IAGO and good practice guide.
Thank you, Chair. Members, the purpose of this report is to advise members of the results of a gap analysis in regard to the recent NIO Good Practice Guide published in March 2025, effective audit and risk assurance committees. On the 31st of March 25, the Northern Ireland Audit Office published their latest Good Practice Guide, Effective Audit and Risk Committees. This Good Practice Guide supplements the large amount of relevant guidance already available and is intended to bring all this guidance into one document to be used by all audit and risk assurance committees within both central and local government in Northern Ireland. Members will recall that this Good Practice Guide was presented to the committee for information earlier this year at the meeting in May. However, it's been attached again at Appendix 16 for information. The Good Practice Guide draws on insights and learnings from the NIO's attendance at many committee meetings across the public sector and provides examples of good practice from their work with organisations in this area. The guide includes a number of appendices, including a self-assessment checklist, which committees are encouraged to complete annually. This self-assessment checklist is a comprehensive way for the committee to review its overall effectiveness. The constitution and membership of audit committees and local councils in Northern Ireland differs somewhat from central government public bodies, and Section 7 of the guide provides guidance specific to local councils. The self-assessment checklist has been completed recently on behalf of the committee, and a gap analysis has been undertaken to assess the extent to which the council conforms with the essential requirements and other good practice guidance contained in the self-assessment checklist. And that's at Appendix 17. The narrative under the yes, no and actions comments sections of the checklist indicates that there is a high degree of compliance with the essential requirements and other good practice, particularly in regard to Section 7, the council specific section. This is the first time that this new self-assessment checklist has been completed, and members can now review the checklist to consider the overall effectiveness of the committee. Within the checklist, each section concludes with additional comments and key takeaways if members have any further comments or actions for implementation. An action plan will be developed as to any changes required to ensure conformance, and all actions will be implemented as soon as possible. The completed checklist, including any additional comments, along with progress on the implementation of actions, will be presented to the committee in June 2026. This will then become an annual process as recommended in the guidance. So far, the gap analysis has resulted in one action in relation to checklist reference 1.6. The proposed action arising is that the chair of the committee should now also separately meet with the full committee and separately with internal audit at least once per year. The self-assessment checklist findings and actions can be discussed further at the audit committee training after this meeting. There is no applications arising, and there are three recommendations. Members, the first one, it is recommended that members endorse the self-assessment exercise of the Assurance, Audit and Risk Committee's compliance with the guidance contained within the Effective Audit and Risk Assurance Committee's NIEO Good Practice Guide. The second is it is recommended that members review the self-assessment document attached, and if they have any further comments, to advise Denise or myself, who will ensure that all comments are included in the self-assessment questionnaire. And finally, in line with the guidance, as well as the current position of meeting separately with the external auditor, it is recommended that members endorse that the chair of the committee should now also meet separately with the full committee and separately with internal audit at least once per year. Thank you, members.
Members, we have item 10 there. Now, I know it's in excess of 100 pages on that item there. So we are asked, as James has read out there, the three recommendations on it. Now, if we have any comments, I suppose maybe I'm more concerned if anyone has any comments, and particularly in item 5.2, if there's any further comments from what the team has put forward, or if there's any other comments. So members, I'll leave it up if anyone wishes to pass any comment, or if anyone wishes. Sorry, I see Brona online. Go on ahead there.
Thank you, Chair. Just apologies for not being actually physically present today. Yes, I just wanted to say thank you to James and the team for preparing that comprehensive checklist. It is huge and very detailed. And just to say we welcome very much the recommendation that's been made in relation to the way forward about the meetings as proposed in the report. So just want to say thank you, and that's the comment. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Brona. Anyone else wish to come? Councillor Riley?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Thanks, James, for taking us through the report. Happy enough with the recommendations. I suppose it's just a query in relation to 5.3 when it says that there should be an additional meeting. We know the chair should now meet separately with the full committee. Will that be an additional meeting that is recorded in this way, or is it just a meeting that the officers and the chair can have to go through issues? Just to clarify whether that's a standing committee meeting.
Thanks, Councillor Riley. I'm happy to answer that. No, it won't be a formal committee meeting. It'll be an informal meeting, and it could take place even before the committee meeting without any officers who have any executive responsibilities present. So the only officer who will be present will be Deborah as the internal audit manager, and it's for Deborah and the chair and the representative from external audit just to meet with the members of committee in case there's anything that you wish to discuss, but it won't be a recorded meeting or anything. It'll be an informal meeting. Thanks.
No, Chair, thanks for that. I think that's probably a good idea because we do have plenty of opportunities in a formal sense, but that informal opportunity to raise issues, I think, would be appreciated. So, yeah, thanks, Chair. Happy with the recommendations.
So, members, I am taking an assumption here that Councillor Riley is content to propose the recommendation. So that's 5.1, 5.2 and 5.3, that we endorse the self-assessment, that we've reviewed the self-assessment with any further comments, and that effectively the required meeting between the chair and the members prior can be accepted then. So that's proposed. Content to second, Councillor Logue?
Yeah, thank you, Keith. And just to follow on from that, I will second it, but I was going to say something here. Oh, just to say that I agree with the comments on the checklist, the comments given by the officers as to why they differ a bit from the good practice guidelines. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Logue. So, members, we're content enough then with item 10, the gap analysis that's been proposed and seconded. I don't see anyone speaking against or any other comment, so we'll deem that approved and move on then to item 11, which is the local government audit in Northern Ireland consultation on draft code of audit practice, and that is Denise.
Thanks, Chair. Members, another very lengthy document, and this document has been issued by the Audit Office, and the purpose of the report is to seek your comments on the draft code of audit practice. In accordance with the requirements set out in the order, the local government order has prepared this draft code and is inviting comments on its proposed content. To assist this process, the Audit Office have drawn up a summary of the proposed changes, including some questions to prompt discussion, and that's included in your appendices there. Members, you are asked if you have any comments that you wish to make whenever you review the document. I'm happy to coordinate those and collate a response to the Audit Office by their deadline at the start of December. Members, if it's any consolation, I have reviewed the draft code of audit practice, and there's nothing really significant for us in it, but I'm happy to take any comments. The changes are very minor, but happy to put in a consultation response if any of you have any comments. Thanks.
Members, I'm in your hands in regard to that. If anyone has any comments, or I know it's another paper with an excess of 50 pages, so it's a good bit of nighttime reading in it there for you. But if we're content enough then, and with the assurance has been given by Denise here that there's very minor alterations, if any, required. So it is the recommendation 5.1 is to seek members' comments on the draft code of audit practice, and I'm assuming then that is also to endorse them, so proposed and seconded. So if anyone has any comments, we can propose and second this if we're content, members, but if there are any other comments, be that in the room or online, if they can come direct to Denise, and then that can be before the council. It has to be submitted by the 1st of December. So
I'll propose.
Happy to second that.
Thank you very much, Councillor Logue. Thank you very much, Councillor Riley. That's proposed and seconded. I don't see any other comments, members. So in that regard, we'll deem that item 11 has been approved and move on to item 12, which is the report to those charged with governance. And we have Christine and Peter, and they will speak. So whichever one of the two, you've Christine, I think, is going to start. So I'll leave that in your hands.
Thank you, Chair. Members, you have the final report to those charged with governance today. I presented the draft version at the September meeting, and really just to say that the accounts have now been signed and certified on the 25th of September. So this report is really just finalising the draft that we previously presented. So I'll take any questions, but it is there is very little change to the version you've seen in September.
Thank you very much, Christine. So you've heard comments there. That if there are any questions, Christine is willing to take them, but she maintains that there's been very little change from the previous draft that had been issued out, members. And our recommendation in 5.1, members asked to endorse the report to those charged with governance for the year ended 31st of March 2025. So if anyone wishes to comment or propose it.
Yes, I'll propose, and thank you, Christine. And just to say, it's good to see that there's been no priority recommendations. Thank you.
I seconder for that item, members. Councillor Clark. Thank you very much. Members, if there's no other comments and I don't see anyone else with a contrary opinion, we will deem that that item has been approved, and we'll move on then to item 13, which is the North West Regional Waste Management Group report to those charged with governance 24-25, and that is going to be Peter.
Thank you, Chair. Just pretty much the same as the last report. This is just the final copy. The accounts were certified ahead of the 30th of September deadline, and happy to take any questions on the report, but it was presented in draft at the September meeting. So nothing else to add, Chair.
Thank you very much, Peter. And Shimon, from your comments in as well, a similar opinion to as Christine had raised in regards to the previous item. There's been really no changes made from the draft to this final paper. Members, I've declared an interest in this as one of the members of the North West Regional Waste Management Group. But members, if you have any comment, that we are recommendation of 5.1 to endorse the North West Regional Waste Management Group's report to those charged with governance, including the audit certificate for the year ending 31st of March 2025. So any comment or a proposal or seconder, members?
Thank you, Chair, and Peter, thank you as well. I'm happy enough to propose and also just to acknowledge that there has been no recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Logue. Anyone else? Councillor Riley?
Happy to second, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Riley. Members, anyone else wish to pass comment? In the absence of any other comments or any other proposals, we'll deem that item has been approved. And we will move then, members, to item 14, which is open for information, and that's the performance improvement. Have anyone wish to comment on it?
Or just, is there an indication of when it'll come back to committee, just time frame wise?
Ask Christine then in regards, I've been told to ask Christine there in regards to item 14 and Councillor Riley's question.
Yeah, I'm happy to comment. So it's usually by the end of November that it gets signed off. So it'll be the meeting after that. It'll come back to committee.
That's great. Thanks, Christine.
No other comments then, members, and nothing else you wish to raise at this stage? In that regard, that is us wrapped up then. Yeah, we'll pass on to Denise here.
Members, as you're aware, we've got training scheduled now. If you can stay on, if anybody online would like to stay on, we're going to just put the meeting into confidential because I don't think the whole of Derry City and Strabane wants to watch our audit committee training, but they're more than welcome to if they would like to. So if any members want to stay online, we will put the meeting into confidential, and members, if you're happy enough to stay, we will run through it as quickly as possible. Thank you. We'll just maybe take a 5-10 minute break and then we'll start then. Thanks.